How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, do me a huge favor, go down and subscribe. We did a modification on the Bronco yesterday. I'm not going to spoil that just yet. You guys will have to see that video come out probably in the next couple of days here. Just drove the Mustang a little while ago. Here's a little cold startup because why not? The title of this video is probably going to be, I got new wheels for my Miata or something like that, because, well, I got new wheels for the Miata. And for the observant viewer, you guys might notice that I had wheels for my car last year. Why do I need new wheels again? And well, there's a couple of different reasons why I've decided to get rid of my old set of wheels and go with a new set that I'm picking up today. I'm doing an even trade, which is nice because I don't have to go shopping again. But these are the new wheels that I got last year. I bought these for $200. They're 15 by 9s. They have some scuffs on them. Like one of the wheels has a pretty decent sized scuff on it. But coming to the back right here, you can see that they're 15 by 9. 15 is the diameter of the wheel, how big the wheel actually is, and then the 9 means how wide it is. So those are 15-inch wheels that are 9 inches wide. The Miata does not fit 9s. 9s are too wide and you end up rubbing a little bit. At the time, I didn't know this. At the time, I saw a good deal on wheels and I bought them. Obviously, they were $200. I couldn't say no to a set of Storm S1s for $200. I listed the wheels up because thinking I would sell them. I listed them for $350. I could probably get like $400 or $450 for them, but my main thing was I offered a trade. I always have wanted to go RPF 1s on my car. If you don't know what those are, you guys will see later in this video, because I'm trading these for a set of RPF 1s that are 15 by 7, which means that they'll be slightly less aggressive than these wheels. These wheels are great for if you want to have a little bit more power in your Miata. In the rear, you probably won't rub all too much, but you will have to roll the fender back here most likely, otherwise it will rub. These stock will take a little bit of performance out of the car. In the front, you run into a fair amount of issue though. You're not only going to have to roll the fender, but you're gonna have to pull the fender most likely just a little bit depending on what tire you go with. It's also probably gonna rub on the upper or lower control arm and possibly the sway bar as well. Now, rubbing is only in full lock to lock, which you're never really in unless you're in a parking lot, so it doesn't really matter. But the thing was, I don't want to have to deal with rolling my fenders, cracking my paint at this moment in time. Before I respray the car, I will roll the fenders. But the thing is, there's like 2 or 3 things adding up with these wheels being slightly too big for this car. 15 by 9s fit on NB Miatas really nicely. The second generation has a little bit more space there. 15 by 8 is kind of the limit from what I'm seeing and kind of the ideal setup. I'm getting 15 by 7s. The offset on the wheel isn't ideal for flush fitment. These are gonna be probably my autocross set. I'll probably rock it for the remainder of this season if I can even get out, probably next season, and then maybe if I ever find a deal on the proper 15 by 8 RPF 1s that are silver, I'd want to do that. These new ones are unfortunately black. I'm not the biggest fan of black wheels. I like white, bronze, and I really just like polished wheels. I did black on my Mustang because I think it suited it well, and it does. Black isn't always bad. I like the black on those, but the Miata with the black kind of just ends up hiding a lot of the wheel. I really like the old kind of chrome polished finish of the RPF 1. The more I modify the Miata, the more I learn about modification, the more I learn about certain specs, the more I learn about fitment for wheels and all of those different things. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of black wheels, even though I have them on my Mustang. I think certain cars can rock black wheels really nicely, and a Mustang is one of those cars that does. The originals were like the steel look, but it didn't match with the rest of the car. These flow so well with the entirety of the car. I'll catch you guys in a couple of hours though, when I actually go and pick the wheels up, show you guys the new wheels. We'll do a little bit of a test fit and hopefully order tires either today or tomorrow. All right, just like that, it's a couple of hours later. I have gone and we made a trade for my old wheels and I have my new wheels. So let's go check them out. let's potentially do a mock test on the Miata. I don't know if my jack will fit underneath the Miata, but here are the wheels right here. They're pretty similar to the other setup, but you can tell it how much smaller they are compared to the other ones. These are 15 by 7, as it says somewhere on here. Right there you can see that it says 15 by 7, and it has a 41 millimeter offset. I believe that is in millimeters. If it had a lower offset, that means it would sit a little bit more flush with the car. So like a 35 would be kind of flush with the vehicle. Before I had 35 offset, but these are kind of more ideal for autocross. Again, these aren't like a super permanent solution, but just to get something on the car, I think they'll do the trick. Keep in mind, I'm basically $200 into this setup until I put tires on it, which I can't complain about because these are probably worth $400 to $600 in this condition, and RPF ones are forged, made in Japan, so they're quality wheels. Not to say that the other ones weren't, but these are going to do the job just fine. All right, I'm gonna throw one of the wheels in the car, and let's go get the car out of the garage and get it up there and see if we can get a jack underneath the rear end, and then we can take a look at the fitment on this. If you missed the last couple of videos, we installed a short throw shifter on the car, and we also installed a new steering wheel on the car, and the interior is finally starting to come together a little bit. So I have the wheel off of the Miata. These are 14s, so 14 by 5.5, and this is 15 by 7. So it's 2 inches taller, as you can see there, and the diameter is 1 inch bigger. Hard to tell probably from here because the tire's on the wheel. Also, you don't really get a perspective on camera. You can definitely tell that it's a little bigger, but they're pretty close. 15's like ideally the biggest you want to get on a Miata, and like 15 by 8's like the biggest. 15 by 9 if you're going to be tucking and rolling the fenders. If you guys remember, we put BC coilovers on the car, and it sits too low to get the jack under it without putting something underneath it. We need to raise the car up because this thing is slammed. But let's get that wheel on there and do a little bit of a test fitment. So we get it lined up. And that's kind of what it's gonna look like. It's not 100% flush. Those old ones were like very flush. Obviously an extra 2 inches, they would come out this much further, but this offset is one of the big reasons why they're not sitting that flush. The offset on these wheels is 41, like I was saying. 41 offset is ideal for autocross. It really doesn't make that big of a deal. These aren't really going to be rocked for an extremely long amount of time, and if they are, they're going to be dedicated track / autocross wheels. If I do get bigger brakes, they will incorporate bigger brakes. In the rear, you can see there isn't going to be any rubbing or anything like that. The old ones in the front would have rubbed on the sway bar when it's a lock to lock. At least I can have wheels on it, and I actually like the look of these. The camera kind of hides the black. I don't really prefer black for most wheels, but I do think the black is going to go good with it. Maybe we powder coat them eventually. Maybe we powder coat them bronze or something. Either way, it's going to be tucked in pretty nicely. We would have to rock a set of spacers to make it flush, but honestly, it's not that far off. They're going to be just tucked in the fender. I'm also going to be buying new lug nuts, 16 new lug nuts, because these, yeah, let's just say they've seen their better days, and I'm most likely going to have to do studs, get some skinnier studs for these, just because, yeah, they're a little tight down there. It's not the most ideal. Now, these RPF ones are not perfect by any means, but they are a really nice set. My old tires, or wheels, my old wheels had a couple of scuffs. These, honestly, other than this one scuff here, and one of the other ones has a scuff from the tire machine, because there's tires on these before, obviously, and the tires got dismounted and the guy kind of scratched it, but not the end of the world. Retorqued all of the wheels one time. Always good to check the torque spec, make sure all the wheels are torqued to spec. Got the car back on the ground as well. That's kind of a little bit of an update with the Miata. I told you guys wheels and tires were coming, or already had wheels and tires for those wheels are coming. That's what happened with the setup. I kind of wanted to explain, show you guys the new setup. Let me know what you think about them. Should I powder coat them white? Should I powder coat them bronze? Do I leave them black? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Part of me wants to go put some heat into the motor of the Miata and get the oils all warmed up, but I'm also very tired. I think the new wheel setup is going to look awesome. RPF 1s are some of my favorite wheels on the Miata. I was really excited to have those S1s on the car, but they just weren't going to work for what I was going for. I guess I will give you guys a little bit of a startup. Sounds good. I don't know why the car is doing that. Well, actually, I shouldn't say I don't know why the car is doing that. I'm pretty positive, but not 100% sure why it's doing that. I'm pretty sure it needs new spark plugs and spark plug wires, and just the little bit of ignition kind of has a little bit of stumble on the low end. And the stumble on the low end is caused by old spark plug wires and spark plugs. I have no idea how old they are. It's due, it's time, 120,000 miles. It is a timing belt service, spark plugs, spark plug wires, fuel filter, and a couple of other things like fluids. That's all I have for the video. If you guys did enjoy, like the wheels, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I will be putting a couple of things on order in order to have them mounted. As always, I'll see you guys in the next video though.